water, natural resources, climate change, Kisumu County, substantive that is. And I'm also acting CC in charge of lands, housing, physical planning, and urban development. The achievements we've made as a county and as a department of water, environment, and climate change, we have made tremendous efforts. And according to County Integrated Development Plan 2, which captures where we were and where we were going when we came in 2017, it was very clear. People were moving an average distance of 2 kilometers to access clean and safe water. What did we do to achieve this? Because we are talking about the coverage when we came in was around 45%. Right now we are talking about 72%. What was in the CIDP, our target was 68%. We have surpassed that target and we are at 72%, averagely for the whole county. I want to mention some of the programs we put in place to achieve this. One, we realized that we had some of the water projects within the county, and within the city we have Kajulu Water Treatment Plant serving the city. Donga Water Treatment Plant also serving the city. So those two water projects serve the city. And the city is the area of the 14 wards within the boundaries of Kisumu Water and Sanitation Company, that is Kiwasco. So what did we do within the city? What we did within the city was to map out areas which were not covered and direct our efforts in trying to augment what Kiwasco as a company was doing, and I sit in the board of Kiwasco and also the CEC in charge of finance and the city manager. We sit representing the county, and as the CEC in charge of water, it is my mandate to make sure that whatever they do is in line with the governor's manifesto to take water close to the people. So areas which were not covered, like Riat area, we made sure that we covered Riat under OBA project. And under OBA project, output-based aid, we got some loan and we made sure that area of Riat is covered. So that area was covered under that program. We made sure that areas which are served by Kajulu Water Treatment Plant, this is gravity, and we use more of it because the cost of operations is lower. We made sure that we channeled that water, pipeline extension to areas which were not covered. I want to mention just a few. If you look at the area going towards Kudo, going towards airport, this area was not covered. We made sure it is covered, apart from Riat area, all the way to Kodiaga prisons, where we used to have a lot of cholera outbreak because they were using untreated water. So we made sure that that area is covered and that facility is connected to clean and safe water from Kisumu Water Sanitation Company. We did look at the area towards Kajulu, areas which were not covered, and today I can confidently report here that most of those areas are now covered, apart from the area towards Kiboso side. I want to mention Kisumu East as a sub-county, Koloa East, most of the areas are covered all the way to Ubino. We also covered all the way to Angola, the line which we did from Angola all the way to Adasa, up to Nyalunya, Ragumu, that particular area all the way to Ofunyu. That area is covered, and the area of going towards Angola, towards Otera, up to Rabur, that area is also covered. We are making sure that the area near Nyamasaria is also covered under that program of looking at areas which were not originally covered. If you look at Nubian, we also did some pipeline towards Nubian to make sure that the informal settlements are covered, areas of Odiek are covered, and we changed the pipes because the old pipes had rusted and we had to change those pipes. So that is within the city. Okay, what did you do outside the city? What we did outside the city was to map out the major projects, water projects, which were originally there and were non-functional. We made them functional. That is Nyakach Water Project, which is under Nyanas. So we made sure that we remove the management and give to Kiwasco, so that Kiwasco can be able to take responsibility in terms of management. And what we did was to bring in most of our programs together with the programs that were collectively handled by our partners, development partners, to focus on Nyakach water system. And the challenge of water availability, the upper side, because we had to pump it towards Nyabondo side, going to Nyakach girls, Nyamarimba girls, Kajoji tank, all that area now is covered with water. Before we came in, those areas were never covered. The downward towards Arambe, Katito, Paponditi, that area is covered. We also have the area going towards Cherwa, that is North Nyakach ward. That area is now covered with water. Those are some of the areas we covered in Nyakach using Nyakach water project. We looked at the other side of Nyakach, that is the side of Sondu Miriu, where we have Kengen, and we prioritized on that water project which was done by Kengen to help the communities around that area. We realized that it was a smaller area, so we did pipeline extension using that water utility to cover most of the areas in towards West Nyakach and southwest Nyakach, that is towards Dudubi area. So areas where we have not covered using the pipeline extension, using the major water projects, we have done boreholes. So boreholes are helping in areas which cannot be reached sufficiently with the available water utilities, which are major projects. We looked at also the other major water utility we have is Kisumu Rural Water Project. Kisumu Rural Water Project was meant to cover parts of Seme, and when we came in, it was coming from Nyamarwaka to Oseure, where we have the water treatment. And the water treatment was to go to Ngere, serve Alwala, serve all the way to Manywanda, and then serve all the way towards Riat. We found out that the dilapidated and broken pipes, that is what was existing, and they were working 2 hours in a day. So we increased that. They start operating within 8-hour shift, and we tried to rehabilitate those lines towards going towards Ngere, all the way to Reru, all the way to Riat, up to Kolenyo. That area is now covered with water. We looked at the down a part of going to Manywanda. We connected those lines, and 10 kiosks which were within that particular area are now covered with water. Looking at the other major water project which had been there before, that is the Maseno Kombewa Water Project. We look at Maseno Kombewa Water Project. It was supposed to serve parts of Kisumu West Sub-County. And when we came in, we looked at now the plant, rehabilitated the plant, and looked at the lines which were not functional. All the way to Huma, we rehabilitated that line to Huma Girls, and where there's a Huma tank. We looked at the area where Ojola is. We rehabilitated that line as well. The whole of that area now is covered, and I can confidently say that within the capacity of the plant, we are now using almost 85% capacity of that water project. And we are confident that as we continue moving, we will be able to dam that section where we are extracting water, so that we have enough water even during the drought, so that we can be able to give water to most of the areas which we still consider to be having some challenge in one way or the other. Because we are moving away from looking at the underground water, where we do the punching of boreholes, to surface water, because surface water is more clean and it is easily managed in terms of water treatment. I want to conclude on the issue of water coverage by saying that areas of Holo, areas of Nyamisri, areas near Rodi, areas near Maseno, because Maseno was meant to be covered, but it was not covered with this water project because the water could not be pumped upstream. So we did a water project called Esovalu in Maseno, and Maseno town today we can confidently say is not only covered by water from Vega, but covered with water source which has been developed by this government of Professor Peter Anyang Nyong'o. I want to say that here, that when we looked at Moroni and we looked at Nyando sub-counties, we looked at the areas how we can take water to them. and we made sure that because of the water treatment we have, could not be able to go all the way. We looked at the available water sources within those particular two sub-counties. And in Nyando, for example, we have done close to 37 boreholes that covers all the 5 wards. And within these boreholes we have done, these are major ones, within 37 boreholes which we have done, the covering these 5 wards were completed in 2019. So that was done then. Then we focused on 2020, 2021, 2021, 2022. And we did a further 75 boreholes to cover Nyando as a sub-county. And I can confidently say today here that if you look at our Sonjiko ward, East Kanowawidi, Aero ward, Kubura ward, and Kabonyo Kanyagwa, these particular areas, the distance anybody can cover to access clean and safe water is 200 meters on the average. And that also applies to Moroni as a sub-county. What did you do in Moroni as a sub-county? Moroni as a sub-county, we mapped out all of the wards. Starting from Ombei ward, we did over 7 water points. We went ahead to look at the areas, the farthest areas, Yao, for example, Ombei, for example. We looked at our Miwani ward, for example. We did in Nyakongo. We did Olasi water. We did Miwani water dispensary water project. We looked at Tamu Koru ward. We did Kibigori water. We did Tamu water. We looked at Koru Moroni ward. We did the Koguta water project. We did Godnyete water project. We did rehabilitate Koru Tam water project. We did Moroni water project, which was major one, because that's the major one that serves Moroni. So Moroni, we put in some money to rehabilitate the water utility, and that is a treatment plant that comes from the river. So we have covered the entire county in terms of water coverage. And that's how we have gotten to 72% in terms of average water coverage in terms of percentage to 72, and we have surpassed the target which was there for us. Something to do with solid waste management. We had Kachok dam site, and the first step which this government took was to identify the abandoned quarries and rehabilitate them. And the first quarry that was rehabilitated was Kisumu Concrete Products in Kajulu. Under that, inert waste was used. But, sorry, we continued generating fresh waste. And even at the time of rehabilitating the abandoned quarry in Kajulu, we still had the challenge of some waste were fresh. We could not use fresh waste to rehabilitate that quarry. We used inert waste. So the waste that remained, we had to look for a solution for them. So what was the solution? The solution was the Department of Environment identifies land, requests Department of Lands to procure on behalf of the county, and try to think beyond just dumping, but doing a waste to energy program. So we did identify land, handed over to the Department of Lands for procurement processes. That was done, and it was completed. So we went ahead to start putting money in our budget to do basic facility that could be able to handle solid waste, awaiting a conversation and expression of interest to bring in an investor to pick it up from there and create wealth out of waste. This we did. We did basic utility. We secured the land, fenced it, did the basic utilities which were to be done. like rerouting the water canals, trying to do embankment of the area, try to do the gabions and doing a road, accessible roads to that area, connecting with the community around that area for a public participation, stakeholders engagement, and trying to bring them to speed of the importance of that project in that particular area. Today, as we talk, we did the basics, and we are taking waste to Kasese, and the community in that particular area, we sensitize them, mainly the youth and women, to be able to have some basic economic activity by sorting the waste. So they are sorting the waste today and earning a living from that. And the reusable ones, we have directed all the waste actors, those who use plastic, those who use paper, those who use metal, to visit the site, pick whatever has been sorted out as a raw material for their own use, and they pay the people who are doing this. So that is on our part, and that is now the initial program. Now, the main program is the investor is coming in, because we are at the tail end of engagement with the investor. We did an expression of interest in our local dailies. We got an investor, those who applied for it through the normal procurement processes, and evaluation was done, and somebody was picked, a company was picked, who will now take it over from there and do the program of now turning waste into energy. I'm of the opinion that this is one of the legacy projects under this current government. And the issue of waste in the whole republic is a threat to counties who have no proper program on how to deal with solid waste. So as a county, I want to say, and on behalf of this department, that we have achieved in that direction, because we have put in proper mechanisms to make sure that as we generate waste, we collect them efficiently and we evacuate them to the right places. We have also done what we call temporary storage recovery centers in all the 7 sub-counties, that we store the waste in these particular sites and transport them to that particular area. Finally, what we will do is to make sure that these recovery centers will act as a mini sorting areas, where the sorting will be done in these particular areas, so that what ends up there has been sorted and is ready to be processed into valuables. That is what we have achieved in terms of solid waste management. In terms of environmental conservation, we have engaged conclusively with those who are doing sand harvesting, maraming, although it's a big challenge because it involves a lot of cartels here and there. But we are working with them to make sure that whatever they do does not affect the smooth living of community members within the county. In terms of forest cover, which is an environmental issue, we are not well in terms of forest cover. We have only 2 forests, Koguta Forest in Nyakach sub-county and Kachek Forest in Kisumu West sub-county. These forests have been degraded. We identified them, started tree nursery sites which we acquired from Kenya Forest Service, did tree seedling productions, and directed planting a major forestation drive into these particular areas. So we have afforested the 2 gazetted water catchment areas, that is Koguta Forest and Kachek Forest. We have decided to work hand in hand with Kenya Forest Service to make sure that the 2 areas are protected and secure. So we did some kind of fencing in Nyakachi, where we realized there was a challenge of illegal logging and charcoal burning, so that we keep away people who have sinister motives of trying to commit that type of an activity. So we have tree ceiling production sites within the county. We have Koro Munara as one of them. We have Ogoro Forest site where we are doing tree ceiling production. We have Karanda in Nyando. We have Maseno, and we have also the showground. We carved a small space where we are doing bamboo seedling production to cover the forest we have. We also went ahead to identify water catchment areas to be gazetted, and that is Kajuru Hills, Koro Hills, and Nyatego Hills in Seme Sub-County. Kajuru Hills is in Kisumu Sub-County, and Koro Hills in Murundi Sub-County. So these are areas where we are gazetting them so that they are protected areas and conserved as forest, so that we increase our forest cover. In terms of tree cover, because forest cover and tree cover are two different things. In terms of tree cover, we are well. We made sure that each and every ward were given certain seedling to plant in identified public spaces. We identified schools, we identified church areas, we identified areas where we have dispensaries, health facilities, we identified even areas which are privately owned, and the owners are willing to have those areas planted, covered under trees, and we did exactly that. So in the first financial year when we came in, which was 2017-2018, we did have that budget, and we invested 10 million. The following financial year, which was 2018-2019, we did now secure the areas under Kenya Forest Service and started the production site. We still had a budget for that, and we brought in now the partners who are environmentally concerned. Like we have Equity Bank Foundation, we have Kenya Breweries, we have Safaricom Foundation, we have Shell Foundation, we have Kewasco also came on board. We have quite a number of forest and tree Kenya environmental network, bringing in all the other organizations that could help us champion that. And we did quite a number of planting trees in schools, all those areas I've mentioned. So that is one of the areas where we are very concerned and very passionate about that. Greening program happens in schools. Greening program happens in the city. And then if you look at this city, we mapped out areas where we planted trees. If you look at the parks, we've planted trees in the parks. The park which is just next to us here, Jamhuri Park. The park which is here, Market Park, Taifa Park. We made sure that we did a lot of planting of trees and ornamental trees along the corridors, the airport corridor, the Kenya Breweries corridor. We made sure that all those areas were covered with ornamental trees and encouraged everybody. The government have also made it a policy. If you're in Kisumu County, allocate 10% of your land and put it under trees. So these are programs which are helping us achieve environmentally friendly Kisumu secure county in terms of greening program. So these are some of the areas where we have achieved. The major challenges were financials. The resources were not available. And how did we go about it? We engaged our partners and brought them together. We have the network in WASH program called WASH. So water, sanitation, and hygiene. So we brought them together and we have a very, very good working relationship with them and a very, very active one. So that forum is very active. Partners come in and we co-create programs with them depending on need analysis. And we engage all of us and coordinate programs with them together. In terms of resources to champion for water service provision, that depends on CRA, Country Revenue Allocation, which we always get. And we talk with the finance to know that we need allocations for the department so that we can be able to help develop asset development, water source development for the water services we have. And I must thank also the Assembly, because they have been very key in terms of helping us get the right allocations, and also the cabinet, so that whatever we request for, we don't really go down. So that's one area where we had challenges. We noted, we noted, and so how to go around it. In terms of environmental conservation and management, we had a lot of challenges in terms of resources, and we had to engage in the right manner. Where we noted that we had a bigger challenge was relocation of Kachok, because everybody is negative about waste. So when you are talking about waste relocating it to a particular place, everybody will give you a negative attitude and actually stop you from doing that. So what we had to do was to make sure that our public participation mechanism was enhanced, so that people clearly understand what is it all about we want to do. Is it just going to dump, or we have a program for them? And how are they going to benefit? I want to say that that was the biggest challenge we had. But finally, through good guidance from the governor, we managed to have a conversation that was all-inclusive, and we had to break that barrier. On the issue of moving forward, we still have some work to do, and we are ready to do them and look at the programs in terms of governance, in terms of capacity building of our people, so that people appreciate what we want to do, because we only do what people say and what comes from the community members. Cartels are everywhere. Even when we do programs, cartels are all over the place.
And
so,
how do you deal with them?
how we deal with cartels and how we deal with people who pretend. Actually, cartel the word cartel is not even the right term. It's that people who want to have self-interest ahead of each and every service delivery. So how do we deal with this? When I came to this department, I had to restructure and bring in the right culture of service to the people. So you make sure that the staff understands that we are working for the people, and we serve the community, and we are servants. We are not there to earn a salary, but we are there to provide services. And the attitude towards work was given priority. 2, engaging community members and having a conversation with them, and having an open door policy where you can walk in and present your case, and we look at it, document it for ease of fast tracking. PMC, putting PMC that is active and knows what they are supposed to do, because that is where we have to crack cartels. In terms of PMC, giving them available information that they need to know. If a project is being done in a particular area, the project management committee must have the BQ of that project, and they must know the scope of work, so that when they're supervising that project, they know this is what we are supervising. If you are supposed to do a water project and you are supposed to go 2 kilometers, you must go 2 kilometers. If you're supposed to put a tank, you must put a tank. If you're supposed to do a kiosk, you must do a kiosk. If you're supposed to dig a borehole which is 200 meters down, you must go 200 meters down.